everyone. I'm Olivia Hollaus for Boca Magazine, and welcome to another coffee break with Managing Partner of GED Lawyers, Marius Ged. Nice to see you, Marty.
Good morning, Olivia. How are you?
I'm great, as always. Another busy week, but it's exciting to always catch up with you and learn something new about the law. So today we're going to be talking about personal injury protection and how Senate Bill 54 might impact PIP. So, first of all, can you tell us a little bit more about, personal injury protection and, what it covers in the state of Florida?
Absolutely. Since 1971, Florida has been considered a no-fault state. And what that means is, in order to get a vehicle on the road, there are two components that you need when you buy insurance. The first thing that you are required under Florida law is PIP, which is personal injury protection, which is the main component which allows you, God forbid, you get into an accident, to receive swift medical care. And the second component is property damage of $10,000. So that would be if you damage someone else's car, you pay to fix the car, or you damage their personal property. But Olivia, I want to focus on the PIP portion because, as I mentioned, it's what's considered a no-fault state. And I'm going to use the example of you and I. God forbid you and I got into an auto accident and I rear-ended you and I caused damage to you. You would thereby, under the current system today, be able to access $10,000 of personal injury protection, which would allow you to receive immediate medical care and have those bills paid for by your personal injury protection. So the example is, again, you and I, God forbid, got into an auto accident, you are injured, now you need to go to a doctor. You have those bills will be covered up to $10,000 and you will not be subject to pay those. The Florida legislature is trying to get rid of the no-fault statute and make it what's called a mandatory bodily injury system. And that's not, in my opinion, that's not good for the consumers because in Florida, there's over 2.8 million uninsured people, and those people have no way to get their injuries paid for. So it's a very bad consumer protection bill, which will take the ability away of consumers like yourself and myself to allow us to get swift medical attention and have those bills paid for, and really to avoid litigation and to avoid suing someone else to get paid for those injuries. So there's a lot of consequences with this bill, and I want to make sure that your audience and our audience completely understands what's at risk here.
Right, and what if this bill does pass? How will it affect medical providers?
Great question, Olivia. So just want to highlight a couple of the points. I'm going to kind of buzz over some of the bullet points, but if this bill is passed, it will completely repeal PIP. So the medical providers who treat these injured patients, the doctors, the orthopedics, the hospitals, the emergency rooms, the orthopedics, those people will not be getting paid. The primary method of payment will either be cash or hoping that there's an attorney associated with that injury client and they have to collect from a lawsuit by suing the other person. Some of the highlights of this bill, or I should say the downsides of this bill, and there's two competing bills. There's one in the House, which is Bill 719, sponsored by Representative Grahl. And then there's Senate Bill 54, which is sponsored by Senators Burgess and Rouson. And the concerning part to us as lawyers, or myself as an attorney, is when you read these bills, they're almost identically worded, which means if one bill's in the House, one bill's in the Senate, they're usually not the same language. They usually have competing language, and then they travel through different subcommittees and get amended. But here, both bills are the same, which shows me that the House and Senate are aligned on changing this law. And here's some of the things that's going to happen. First of all, there will be no more PIP and no more no fault. So if you, in the example, I caused an accident and I hit you, you're now going to have to sue me to get paid, which to me, I don't think is a good thing. Additionally, there's going to be a mandatory bodily injury limit of $25,000 per person. What that's going to do is that's going to increase every person's insurance in the state of Florida. As you know, Olivia, you pay your insurance and you know what it costs every year. Florida is one of the highest states in the country, and that's going to go up. Also, there's certain provisions in there that just don't benefit the consumers, and you can tell that the insurance company or insurance companies are stacking the hand in their favor. One of the other detriments is there's what's called med pay, which is basically PIP disguised as something else. But the mandatory bodily injury bill only requires the insurance company to offer MedPay. Currently, right now, we have to have PIP on our policy. In this new statutory scheme, they only have to offer it to you. And my understanding of this is anytime someone else wants to offer me something for more money, most people are going to reject it. So again, it's going to be a cost shifting over to the drivers.
Right. And I believe that the numbers of uninsured Floridians is around 20% of our population, correct? So it's definitely not helping that number go down. Has this bill been on the legislative floor for a while? I mean, what is the likelihood that it will pass?
So if we have anything to say about it, we're going to fight as hard as we can to stop this bill, because we don't believe it's in the best interest of the Floridians. This PIP issue has been, I've been practicing law for 15 years, and it's constantly under attack. And there was a major rehaul in 2012 under the leadership of Senator Joe Negron, who actually did a good job. And if you've heard anything about auto accident business and PIP, you hear a lot about fraud and people in Miami doing bad things and other parts of the state. And there are bad actors, and those bad actors need to be taken out of the playing field and penalized and go to jail and all those other things. But for the most part, this bill or this law has been attacked constantly for the last 15 years, where the consumers really are getting the short end of the stick by the insurance company, where they're trying to chip away at this coverage and really convert to a mandatory bodily injury system, which again, we are going to continue to fight, and we do not believe this is in the best interest of our consumers.
And I believe, Ged Lawyers, you have an office in Tallahassee, is that right?
We do. We have a little office up there where we unfortunately regularly go up to the legislature in Tallahassee and speak our points and meet with different senators and state representatives.
So you are active in, lobbying for this bill to not get passed. Let's say
advocating is the word, because we're not lobbyists and we can't lobby. You have to be a registered lobbyist, but we advocate for our clients. And we often, now think about it, there's members of the House and members of the Senate that they're hearing every single issue that has to be brought up in the state, whether it's tourism, whether it's the pandemic, whether it's agricultural. These people need to be educated by folks like ourselves and people that I call stakeholders who are interested in this provision. So our job is to educate these people and really tell them the truth of how this will work.
Well, it's great that you're advocating for the consumer. Now, let's say hypothetically that it does pass. As a consumer, when I'm looking for insurance, for auto insurance, what will I need to get in order to replace personal injury protection?
It's called MedPay would be the substitute. And that's obviously something you would want to check the box to obviously get that coverage, because if this bill is changed, the insurance company is only required to offer it to you. So again, being educated about what the coverages are is always important. And I think we've done some segments here on that, and understanding how those coverages affect you and your family are important as well. So definitely you want to get the MedPay.
Okay, great. And you're right. These segments that we do with you on a regular basis really do help educate our viewers and myself. So, I really do thank you for your time. What would you recommend constituents like myself do in order to get our voices heard?
So you can reach out to the sponsors of the bill, Burgess and Rousen, or House Representative Grahl, and you can email them about this. You can email the Department of Insurance to not let this go through, or you can reach out to my office and reach out to me, and I'll direct you specifically to your local legislatures to let them know this is not in your best interest. And please, senators and House representatives, don't pass this.
Right. Okay. Well, what's super important, because we are all affected by this. So it's definitely very important to get our voices heard. Well, super informative as always, Marty. And we always like to end our segments with something fun. So after a long day at work, what is your go-to cocktail or drink?
Very interesting. If it's an alcoholic beverage, it will definitely be a bourbon. But I've been into these healthy shakes now. I go to different shake places and I like trying these different types of shakes.
Okay, what's your favorite shake? Like, is this a New Year's resolution where you're
So
trying
I go to a place called Juicery RX over by my house, and they have this blue agave drink. It's really, I don't know the name of it. Can't remember the name of it actually, but it's really, really cool looking. It's like a blue, like a light blue colored drink, and it's got all different types of whey protein and fun stuff in there.
All right, good to know. You go for the healthy drink and then also a nice, good old bourbon at the end of the day every now and then.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Marty, for your time. We really always appreciate your informative sessions. And thank you again for joining us.
Thank you. Great. Looking forward to seeing you soon in person.
Yes, I believe we have another Facebook Live next Thursday. So our viewers, thank you so much for joining us. As always, have a great weekend. Grab your cup of coffee and we will see you next week. Bye.
Next week, Olivia. Have a great one.
Bye, Marty. You too. Bye.